Narcissists are a mindfuck. Let's start this video off with a bang. Hi, I'm Leanne and welcome to my channel, and I say this with love, 33. Today we're going to be talking about narcissists, something that I have a lot of expertise in as I spent 40 years of my life with a narcissist. What I have here is gold. This is my journal that I began very shortly after I woke up and decided and started to feel that something is not right. Something doesn't feel good within me. And I don't know if I'm happy in my marriage. I don't know. So I went on YouTube and I'm typing things in, trying to figure out what's wrong with me. How can I fix me? What's going on in my relationship? I've been with this man for 40 years. Why all of a sudden is this stuff starting to affect me? I've dealt with it my whole life. And I want to read to you some of the, well, maybe all of it, maybe some of it, some of the things that I have in this journal. I would just love to say to you, if you feel that you might be in a relationship with a narcissist, but you're not sure, maybe some things might be happening that don't make you feel good. Maybe your body and your intuition are like screaming out at you. Or maybe you know you are, but you are too scared to push into it and to make changes. I've been there, I've done that. I've done both of those things. I have experienced these things, and that's why I am making this video, because I offer you love and compassion and peace, and I want to let you know that I know exactly where you are, where you're at, what you're feeling. You're not alone. There's millions of us out here, out in the world, that have gone through, are going through, or perhaps will go through this experience in life. So let's get started, and I'm going to read to you some of these things. But first, before I forget, because my mind goes everywhere and I want to speak everything all at once. If you feel like you are in a state of maybe being with a narcissist or you're broken down, allow yourself grace, breathe, become aware. Start a journal, start writing your feelings down, start writing things down, conversations that take place, feelings that you're having. Make an ick list. If you think you're with a narcissist, make an ick list. This is something that I learned through an amazing doctor on YouTube, Dr. Ramani, I believe her name is. Absolutely spectacular woman who gave me so much knowledge and wisdom throughout my beginning of my journey. Keep a ick list, because in our minds, our nervous system and our brain always go back to what feels comfortable, what it knows. So say for instance, I was in my relationship for 40 years. So yes, things felt bad to me when that narcissistic like rage and things were happening, but that I just took it on and I'm like, okay, well, I need to be a better person and it's my fault and all the things. But then when you start to break out of that, when you push into that, when you start feeling like, ooh, I don't know if that's good for me anymore. I don't know if I like that. I might be tapping out on this one. Your mind's going to keep taking you back and reminding you of, oh, but they're so nice. Oh, but they took me out to dinner last week. Oh, but sometimes they could just be so loving. I know deep down in their heart, they're really a good person. I know they didn't mean what they just said. I know that they love me because they say they do, but their actions don't speak it at all. So be aware. Make your ick list. Write everything down that you feel is ick in your world from that narcissist. I was looking through my journal and I have probably about 6 pages of my ick list. A lot. And there's probably a lot of instances over the 40 years that I had that I didn't even remember or write down. And if you have close personal friends that can help you if you're struggling because you just want to hold on to that relationship out of that's what you know and it's comfortable and you're safe there, but you're dying inside, ask your personal family, your close friends, somebody that you can trust and be vulnerable with and that knows your story, to remind you of some of the ick that you have felt and endured. That's going to help. And also educate yourself. Listen to this video, listen to other videos, research, listen to and acknowledge and feel what resonates with you in your heart and your soul. Like I have said before, not everything's going to work for everybody, and you might not be feeling the same things, but just be open and aware of some of these things and listen to your intuition in your body. Our gut is always talking to us, but most of the time we don't want to listen. So look at this, all this information. Some of the things that I started off on my journey and learning about narcissism, and I had none of this resonated with me because I didn't know any of this information. I didn't understand it. But once I read it and I heard it and I listened to the podcast like a couple times, and I was like, oh snap, this is my life. This is exactly what I have gone through. And then that's where you start to be able to take steps forward to evolve and heal, and perhaps step away, perhaps not. I don't know. But I want to say to you that in one of Dr. Romani's, one of her videos, she talks about how your mind, your body, and your soul is affected by a narcissist. And I can say firsthand with my 40 years experience, that goes deep. That is absolutely correct. And your body begins to shut down. Your body begins to fall apart. I did physically. I couldn't lift my shoulders and move my hips, like standing and sitting in Indian style wasn't available to me. My body was screaming to me for years, but I ignored it. Your mind up here keeps you in a narcissistic relationship. And if that ain't the flippin' truth, I don't know what is. My mind kept me in the narcissistic relationship because I didn't allow myself to feel into my heart and my body for my whole relationship with my ex. I didn't allow myself to feel. I just sucked it up, buttercup. That's what I did. But my body began to speak to me by breaking down. Try to step out of your mind and open your heart. If you feel that you might be in this relationship or a space where you might be with a narcissist, your soul feels sick. It feels anxiety and apathy, helplessness, worry, self-doubt, and huge one, loss of an authenticity. Yes, all these things I experienced, I felt, I dealt with. And the biggest one is loss of authenticity, because you don't know who you are. Because if you are in a narcissistic relationship and you know how the narcissist is a mind fuck and plays games and throws out the word salad and turns things around and gaslights and distorts reality by twisting and turning and making you think that you're nuts and you heard the wrong thing and you don't understand anything, after so long of that happening, you begin to break down and just become this lifeless puddle of blah. I didn't flippin' know which end was up. And to be honest and fair, like, I didn't even know who I authentically was when I stepped into this relationship, because I was only 15. Yeah, I had to grow up fast in my life with my early life lessons. And I stepped into a relationship at 15, and then I got married at 20. So I didn't authentically know who I was anyways. And so to lose yourself in a narcissistic relationship is something that I hear so much about with so many friends of mine, acquaintances, past coworkers, people that I come in contact with, that we begin to talk, and we all have such similar stories because, you know, we are all one and we are all the same, just humans on this earth learning our lessons. The narcissistic relationships are psychologically numbing, invalidating, and dehumanizing. Absolutely. Absolutely. The manipulators play on guilt, shame, obligation, low self-worth, and fear of disappointment. And that was me. I was so fearful of disappointment, and I had zero self-worth. And the narcissist, mine, knew that, and he played upon that, because that's what they do. And it's not necessarily their fault, and I don't blame him for that, because that's what he learned and that's what he knew, and he just is not on a path to heal yet or self-awareness. But me understanding that I needed to step away to save myself, know that this was not possible for the narcissist to understand. They think we're all nuts because they think on a different level. Manipulation is a core dynamic in a narcissistic relationship. 100%. That is so tough. That is so difficult. And if you're in this and you feel the manipulation by vocals coming out, by energies, by physical touches and different things happening, trust yourself. Go with that. Feel into your inner gut, your intuition, to not steer you wrong. Now, I'm going to say, let me see if I can, I'm going to go to my ick list and read you maybe some of the ickiness about, I'll just kind of make it basic because there's a lot, and I just want to see like if you feel anything or if you have any similarities. Becoming upset and him becoming upset and jealous when I would do things on my own. Throwing a tantrum about me cooking certain foods that wasn't at the top of his list. Making fun of the movies that I watch. Humiliating me in front of friends and customers. Threatening me that every year during Christmas, we're not doing it again. Threatening me that I can't have a bunko party at my house. Always looking for attention from me to be at the top of my list so I can validate his insecurities. Making fun of me, humiliating me, hating my friends, and alienating me from my friends, which I now know I chose to do that. Blaming everything on me. Emotionally and verbally abusive. Getting up into my physical space and having a rage. Yelling and calling me names. Telling me I'm the narcissist and that I bring the worst out in everybody. Invalidating feelings and concerns. Blaming me for losing business. Blaming me for answering the phone not the right way. Threatening me to take credit cards away. Controlling the amount of driving I do. Never participating in something that was my idea that I wanted, but always turning it around and twisting it to make it seem that it's not the right thing for our family, or it's not the right time, or I'll do that later. Oh, God, just reading this is just so much, because to live in this state for all those years, and I know there's a lot of you out there that deal with this, and we just take it. We begin to lose ourselves. When we're gonna go out to dinner and I'd come out with what I'm wearing and give me a look like, you're gonna wear that? I'm not going. So I would feel so icky and low, and I'd go in and change my clothes until he approved. Always told me that I need to go to therapy and work on myself. Never asked me how I am. Always tell me that I'm selfish. Verbally abusive, emotionally abusive. Mocked me. Gaslit me. Always made a nuisance of himself during my parties, my birthday, holidays that we celebrated, because the attention wasn't fully on him. Used to talk trash on my family. Everything had a string attached. Nothing was unconditional. If you're feeling any of this, write it down in the comment section. Let me know what you have endured, what you feel, what you experienced, because there's so many things. Always stealing the conversation. Anytime I would speak up, he would always overpower and overtake it. Yell obscenities. Throwing tantrums when they don't get their way. Only going to places that they want to go. And if he did say, okay, well, we'll do what you want to do, I fucking paid for it. And we're going to hear about it and we're going to feel it and it's going to be a problem, to the point where I just lost any vocal awareness to say what I think, because I just let it get beat down throughout all the years, that I finally just like, okay, whatever you want to do. So eventually the narcissist gets their way. This is so much, and there's so much more. And we become resentful and we become bitter and we become numb as the person on the receiving end of these narcissists. We get to a point where we just don't even have anything left inside us to thrive, to go on. And that's the point I got to. And I want to say this because I became aware of what was happening in my relationship and what kind of relationship I was. And then I was able to start onto a path of healing and going in deep and doing self-reflection and understanding the dynamic of a narcissistic relationship. And not everybody understands that. And not everybody wants to understand that. And maybe through conditioning that you've been brought up with, or your family beliefs and your religious beliefs and all the things that here on earth tell us that we can't do or that we're supposed to do, maybe you're stuck, maybe you feel trapped, maybe you're dying inside and you don't know how to get away or start the process of going in and healing yourself. Because I say this with love, and I've lived it, I've experienced it, so I can talk about it. You're not a victim. And when we're in that state, we feel like the victim, but you are not the victim. You are a co-creator. And you do have everything you need inside you to make a change and to heal and to step away and to acknowledge that you might not be in alignment with a specific person anymore. And that's okay. It's okay if you're going to start to think about healing yourself and rebuilding you, rebuilding your heart, your whole space of energy and self-worth and loving yourself. I had to. I was completely dead inside and I was at my rock bottom. And I let the narcissistic relationship unconsciously start to kill me. Just going through life. And I would think, okay, well, this is just life. You know, I married this man. I took my vows. It's for better or for worse, till death do us part. I have kids. I have grandkids. I have homes. I have a business. I have all the things that the world tells us that we need in order to bring contentment, and that you've made it in life. Yeah, you go, girl. You made it. You made it. Ah. Don't listen to all that outside chatter. It's not the truth. The truth is inside you, and only you know what your truth is. I share my truth with you, and I hope that it can help you in some way, because that is my intention. But never just do what the world tells you to do. Do what you need to do. Break certain patterns, break molds, love yourself, honor yourself, listen to yourself. Connecting with your heart and your soul when you've been in a journey of living, being in connection with, being in relationship with a narcissist is, I don't know what I want to say. Like, okay, what she said, it's a fucking mind fuck. That's what it is. And pardon my French, but that's what it is. But let me also say, yeah, it's a mind fuck, but then it's also bringing strength to you, bringing lessons that we didn't know that we needed in life, but yeah, we apparently did, because they came to us. And everything that takes place and all the hard traumatic name calling, tantrums, rages, verbal, mental, emotional abuse, all the gaslighting, all the bullshit that you deal with on a daily basis with a narcissist. And then the next minute they'll be like, oh, you know, I didn't mean that. You know, I love you. Okay. Well, how does your mind know that? Like, that is such a mind fuck. And I believe that, and I lived that for 40 years. Ugh. And here I am. And I can tell you that through deep healing, through deep awareness, through just throwing my hands down, like throwing the towel down and just letting God, source, universe, whatever your belief is, take the reins and listening to your intuition and rebuilding who you are and learning how to like yourself and love yourself and know who you are and empower yourself and find your inner strength, your inner fire, it's available. I'm here to share with you, it's available. And that is truth. You can choose to stay in a space that you're in and continue to be weighed down by the chains of fear, guilt, and shame, which I understand, and that's okay if you're in that space. Or you can choose to cut through those chains of fear, guilt, and shame and step into the unknown. Step outside of that square box of what you know and what is comfortable and what you feel safe in, because that's the only thing you know. You can choose to step out of that. And when I made the choice to step out of that, and I had no idea who I was, what I was going to do, where I was going to live, how I was going to survive, what I was going to tell my children who were adults at the time. So I know that there could be younger children in these instances and relationships, and that's a whole different story that needs to be done with love and grace. But when I chose that path of uncertainty and just trusting in me, in the universe, in God, and being like, okay, whatever happens, happens. I trust it's all going to be okay. Because what I lived the last 40 years, nothing could touch that. Like there's nothing that could be as significantly hard as that. I'm still alive talking about it. My heart is still beating. And I'm going to move forward and make changes in my life because I have to save myself. I have to choose myself, and I have to step away from the family that I co-created and the marriage and all the things that we deem important in life, which I'm talking about material stuff. I had to step away from that in order to save myself. And in order to go even deeper into with the healing of generational trauma and breaking those cycles for my children, my grandchildren, my future great-grandchildren, I took that path, and it's spectacular and it's available to you. So again, I offer to you to feel into what feels right for you. If you think you're in a narcissistic relationship, stop and take a breath. Do your research, journal, allow yourself to feel, because you're probably numb and don't even know what end is up or what's truth and what's not, because you don't believe anything that your body is communicating with you or feeling. I get it. I was there. But you can, and it's a choice. So I do say this with love. This is such a topic of passion for me because it can be talked about openly, and we don't have to have shame about it and embarrass. I couldn't talk to anybody for my first 3.5 years on my healing journey. I was just like, still, I still had to grow through that feeling of like, I'm not good enough. My voice doesn't matter. What I have to say doesn't matter. Nobody thinks that I'm interesting, and I'm too skinny. I'm too fat. I'm too tall. I'm too short. Like all the things, it takes time. Everything that is going to be everlasting and long lasting, you need to take the time to build a solid foundation. So if you have any questions, comments, something you want to share, please leave it in the comment section. I have so much wisdom and knowledge, as I have 40 years of expertise in this field. No, I don't have a license or a credential, but I was at the School of Hard Knocks. So I can tell you from experience what worked for me, what didn't work for me, what I felt, what I didn't, what I experienced, what I didn't. So thank you for listening. If you like this, give it a thumbs up, share it with somebody that might be in a space. There's so many of us out here in this world that are living this, and I just want us to be aware that we're not alone. we're no different than Joe Blow walking down the street. Everybody's got their stuff to deal with. So remember that. I say this with love. Namaste.